Alrighty guys, so in this video I'm going to be going over a problem that is similar to what is on your assignment. So just make sure that you guys are following along. That way you have something to refer back to if you're confused while doing the assignment. Now for your assignment, what you're going to do is you're going to have to identify the functional groups on a molecule. So here I have an example. We have a molecule that is called TSH. Okay, so we'll talk about the names later and some other parts of the problem in a bit. But what we're first going to do is we're going to fill out this first column right here, or I guess the second column, which is called functional groups. So we're just going to look for the different functional groups that are on this molecule. Now, if you notice on the right, I have the charts that we are referring back to figure out which functional groups are on this molecule. Now, the first thing you should probably do is just look for elements or atoms on the molecule that kind of give away specific functional groups. Now, if you notice, there are a bunch of nitrogens on this molecule. Okay, so that should be a dead giveaway that we're either going to be working with amines or amides, or maybe some both, because only amines and amides on the chart have anything to do with nitrogens. So we just need to go through this and figure out how many amines we have and how many amides we have, or amides we have. All right, so let's go from top to bottom, okay? Kind of. So we have a nitrogen right here. We have NH2, and you're going to notice that this nitrogen is connected to a carbon that's double bonded with an oxygen. Now, if you remember back from our video lectures and our chart right here, you're going to notice that amines are only connected to a carbon, but amides are connected to a carbon that's double bonded with an oxygen. And if you notice, it's only one time removed. So this part right here, I'll do it in blue. This part right here of the molecule, this is going to be an amide. Okay, and we know that it's an amide because it's a nitrogen directly connected to a carbon that's double bonded with oxygen. All right, so that's our first nitrogen. Let's move on kind of downwards. So we have this nitrogen right here, and if you notice, this nitrogen is connected to a carbon here, and a carbon here. Now, the carbon on the top parts, the top left and right, they're nothing special, right? They're just carbons. But the one on the bottom, if you notice, is double bonded with an oxygen. It's only one time removed, so this is going to be another example of an amide. So this part right here is going to be another amide. So we have two amides so far. Okay, and those are the two nitrogens we looked at. Okay, moving on. We have another nitrogen right here. Let's look at this one. And this nitrogen as well is connected to a carbon on the top and a carbon to the bottom right. And if you notice, the bottom right carbon is double bonded to an oxygen. So that means that this part right here, this nitrogen, is also going to be part of an amide. So we have an amide right here. Okay, so before we go down all the way, let's kind of go to the left. Now, if you go to the left, you're going to notice that there are two different nitrogens. Now, this nitrogen right here, all the way on the left, is connected to a carbon and a carbon. But neither of these carbons are double bonded to an oxygen, which means that this right here is going to be an amine. So this nitrogen right here is an amine. And if you look at the other nitrogen right here, this one also is an amine because there are no carbons double bonded to an oxygen anywhere close to it. So those are going to be all of our, those are going to be all of our amines on this side of the molecule. Now, if we go to the last nitrogen on the very bottom, you're going to see that this one right here is connected to a carbon to the top and a carbon downward. Now, the carbon downward is double bonded to an oxygen. So this is going to be another example of an amide. Okay, so those are all the nitrogens, and we figured out that there are 4 amides, and there are 2 amines. So here, in the functional groups part, I'm just going to put 2 amines, and then we also have 4 amides. All right, now let's just double check and make sure we didn't miss any of the other functional groups. So I'm just going to clear the screen just so it's easier to look at. Now, one other structure that we might see is going to be these closed shapes, right? Now, we need to make sure that these closed shapes are either carbon rings or not. So this one on the very bottom, you're going to notice that it is not a carbon ring. And the reason why it's not a carbon ring is even though it's a closed shape, one of the corners is a nitrogen. For it to be a carbon ring, we have to have it only made of carbon. So this is not going to be a carbon ring. This is just going to be the amide that we counted earlier. All right. This closed shape right here is also not a carbon ring because there are 2 nitrogens in it, so that's not going to be it. And then this one on top as well is not going to be a carbon ring because there is a nitrogen in the middle of the structure. Okay, so if you kind of look through this and you double check everything, you'll see that there are no more functional groups. So this molecule right here, TSH, is only made up of 2 amines and 4 amides. All right, so that's going to be the first part of your assignment. The first part of the assignment is just to find the functional groups. But in this semester, during this semester or the end of the semester, the last couple weeks, and for your final, we're going to be doing a lot of research. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to pull up Google to do your research. So what you're going to do is you're just going to look up TSH. So we're going to look up TSH, and since it might, it looks like there's a lot of different results that come up, right? Like, I don't know why t-shirt and t-shirt outlet comes out, but we might get a lot of different search results. So let's put TSH chemical because this is going to be a chemical. So we're going to look up TSH chemical. And what we're going to be looking for in this assignment is just what it does to the human body. Okay, so if we look through our search results, it looks like it's some kind of hormone. So usually Wikipedia is not the end-all be-all, but I do think it is a half-decent source, and it gives you a lot of sources we can look at. So we'll kind of keep that for later. But let's go to this website right here, NCBI. NCBI is a journal that posts research articles and scientific literature, so this is pretty dependable. So TSH, it looks like the name is thyroid stimulating hormone. So I'm just going to write that down right here, thyroid stimulating hormone. Okay, and so just based on the name, we kind of can tell what it's going to do. It's a hormone, and we'll talk about what that is later, or you might have learned it in human body systems already, but it's a hormone that stimulates the thyroid. Thyroid is a gland inside of your body. It's found like in your throat area. Okay, and so it tells us in our research that TSH is a glycoprotein hormone. Okay, we'll talk about what that is later, but it's produced by the anterior pituitary. So that's where it's produced in the body. So we know that it's produced by the anterior pituitary, the human body. Okay, so it's not like a drug that we make in a lab. It's something that is made inside of your body. Okay, and it is the primary stimulus for thyroid hormone production. Okay, so this chemical right here is what it stimulates your thyroid gland to produce hormones. Okay, so it stimulates the thyroid gland into making hormones. Okay, so I don't know. Let's just say I don't know what the thyroid gland is. So let's actually just look up what the thyroid gland does. So thyroid gland. So we're going to look up thyroid gland. And it looks like the thyroid gland, it releases hormones that control metabolism, which is the way your body uses energy. Okay, so the thyroid gland releases hormones that control metabolism, which is the way your body uses energy. Okay, So that's going to be just some basic research on what this chemical does. So TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, it's produced in the anterior pituitary in the human body. So inside your body it's made. And what it does is it stimulates the thyroid gland into making hormones. And the thyroid gland releases hormones that control metabolism. So this chemical basically allows your thyroid gland to make other hormones that control your metabolism. So that is basically what your assignment is going to be. You have 3 molecules that you're going to be doing this for. You're going to find the functional groups for the molecule, and then you're just going to do some research on what it does to the human body. So let me know if you guys have any questions, but good luck with your assignment, and we'll see you guys next time.